So today I'm back working on my wife's car. Last week she was driving and she parked somewhere and noticed some fluid underneath the car. And I said, well, check your fluids. And the water level was still okay. Oil was still okay. Brake fluid was okay. And it was leaking right at the, it was dripping down and hitting right at the rack and pinion. So my initial thought was it's rack and pinion. You know, the seals had blown and she's leaking power steering fluid, which in this car is actually automatic transmission fluid. But after further examination of the liquid, it was clear mostly and didn't smell and didn't feel that oily. It felt a little bit. And what it turned out to be was engine coolant for the lines going back to the rear heater. This has rear heat and rear air conditioning, and so you have to dig into this to get to where those things are. You can see the heater core going into the front of the car, but there's also some T fittings that I just finished removing that are made of plastic. Well, those are what go bad. This car is almost 20 years old and those plastic fittings go bad. So I've just finished. It took me 3.5 hours to dig all this out and get to it, and be able to get to it. I tried to remove throttle body, and it's just too complicated to remove it, and so I left it. I tried a couple other things. Basically, ended up taking out the air cleaner and the engine beauty cover and the inlet boot that goes to the throttle body, and it's very difficult even with that room to get to the stuff, but you can do it. I spent a lot of time studying it, trying to decide what I was going to do. So 3.5 hours really isn't true for this job. It's just I sat there and studied it, thought of different things to do, and ultimately that's what you're going to have to do. You have to remove the air box and the air intake tube. Engine shroud gives you a little bit of more room. And I tried to remove the fuel line, and I tried to remove whatever the hell this is, some sort of vacuum line, but they didn't want to come, and I was scared it was going to break this thing here's plastic, so I decided to leave it. And there's just not a lot of room, and you got to go real deep in there. Initially I had the car jacked up, and I lowered it down, and then I got a tire to stand on to give me a little bit extra length, a little bit extra lift to get to the stuff. So now I'm going to Home Depot. I'm going to be buying brass PEX, and I think these are 3/4. I had already gotten some 5/8 brass PEX fittings for this job, but they're too small. So I'm going to take a piece of hose, this piece of hose here, actually, to match the diameter. I'm pretty sure it's going to be 3/4, but I just want to make 100% sure. It might be 7/8, and if it is, then that's kind of a weird size. But yeah, so this job's not fun, but you have to do it because you're losing a lot of water. She was lucky to get it home, in my opinion. But anyway, so I'm going to continue, and I might have another video to talk about this some more. This is a first for me. I went to Home Depot first, and they didn't have the 1-inch tees like these, but Lowe's did. Usually I have better luck at Home Depot, but I guess the rumors are true about Home Depot. They're kind of sliding. At any rate, so I'm going to be fitting these into the hoses for the where the old tees went, and 3/4 was too small, and 1 inch is a little bit too big, so it must have been 7/8, but I think I can make 1 inch work. I'm going to give it a shot. The hoses are in good enough shape to reuse, so I'm going to do that. And I bought some clamps from Home Depot since I was at Home Depot, and they were $2.18 each. These are good quality stainless steel clamps. I've used them before, so I'm feeling confident about that. So yeah, the problem is, see all these pieces of plastic? That's the old tees. Why automakers continue to make this shit out of plastic? Yeah, it lasts, 20 years almost. This is a 2007, so, well, over 15 years. I guess that's not unreasonable, but you know what? If it's brass, I bet it'd still be okay. So that's what I'm replacing it with, brass fittings. I've done this before on Uplander and didn't have any problems with it, didn't leak or anything. So we're going to try it on this, and let me get started on this, and I'll finish up later. A comment about the hoses for this Hyundai. On one end, it looks like it's 3/4 inch. On the other end, it's 1 inch. So that kind of threw me off when I placed orders online. I actually bought 5/8. That's what I heard online was supposed to be correct. So this hose is going to go here. That fitting right there looks to be 3/4, and then the T that that disintegrated was 1 inch, or 7/8 probably. But I think 1 inch is going to be okay. Anyway, I just wanted to comment that that's strange. You know that. What looks to be a regular hose is fatter on one end and not the other, and I think it's a factory hose, and they did it that way on purpose. So I was wrong about the diameter of these hoses, all being one inch. They are not. On one side is 1 inch, on the other is 3/4. So I'm going to have to get a T. One of them's fine. One of them is all 1 inch. So if you're going to do this job, get a T with all 1 inch on all three of them. The other one, however, needs to have 3/4 on the opposite sides and 1 inch coming out at the 90-degree angle. So that's what this is going to need for the lower one down here closest to the firewall. The one up here closest to the top is the 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch guy. So I'm going to have to order that. That's not something I can get local. I was lucky to be able to get the 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. That's kind of an oddball for this type of PEX stuff. Anyway, that's it. I'm just making some notes basically for anyone else that tries to do this.